To have your insight. We now stay in the region once again for our next story, where a suicide attack in the country of Syria in Damascus has killed at least 22 people and injuring over 60. The attack happened during a packed service at Saint Elias Church in the Dwelwa neighborhood. According to Syrian authorities, the attacker opened fire before detonating an explosive belt. The Islamic State group has been blamed for this unprecedented assault inside a Syrian church since the civil war began in 2011. The eyewitnesses described chaos as worshippers tried to stop the attacker. First responders rushed victims to hospitals while security forces secured the area. The Syrian Interior Ministry called it a criminal, sinful bombing and vowed to investigate thoroughly. Let's have a look at what the spokesman for the Syrian Ministry of the Interior had to say.
تدين وزارة الداخلية السورية التفجير الإجرامي الآثم الذي استهدف كنيسة مار إلياس اليوم، والذي تشير المعطيات الأولية إلى كونه ناتجا عن هجوم انتحاري يتبع لتنظيم داعش. وهذه ليست المرة الأولى التي يحاول تنظيم داعش استهداف المدنيين بأعمال إجرامية فيها. فقد أحبطت وزارة الداخلية محاولتي تفجير في كل من مقام السيدة زينب وكنيسة معلولة في عمليات دقيقة ومعقدة. إننا في وزارة الداخلية نعمل مع الجهات المعنية لكشف تفاصيل الحادثة، ونعكف على استكمال التحقيقات وجمع الأدلة لتحديد هوية المنفذ.
International leaders condemned the attack and the UN envoy called it a heinous crime, while the US envoy labelled it an act of cowardice. Turkey and France also condemned the violence, again urging unity against acts like these. The Orthodox Patriarchate urged authorities to protect all civilians and prevent further violations against religious sites. Security remains a critical challenge for Syria's new government amid ongoing threats. We're now joined by Oliver, who's an advisor and coordinator to Europe-Israel Press Association and the European Jewish Association. Thank you very much for joining us, Oliver. Many countries want to see Syria involved in the world. Ever since the fall of Bashar al-Assad late last year, sanctions have been removed from the United States, but incidents like this continue to happen in the country. The Islamic State group is a huge fear. Do you think this group is re-emerging in Syria? And if so, what does this mean for stability in the region and for the future of Syria?
Well, first, I don't think that Islamic State has ever disappeared. It's a misconception when people say that. One just has to go onto the streets of Europe and one sees a lot of the IS flags being flown at the, let's say, pro-Hamas, pro-Gaza rallies.
Are you talking about the Palestinian flag?
No, the IS, the Islamic State flag tends to be flown at these demonstrations, and this is already a sign that there's support for it, and there is a sign that they have not vanished completely. This is you don't eradicate anything at 100%. The instability in Syria, of course, it hasn't changed much. The overtures of the Syrian government, of course, especially towards Israel, has shown an opening up, perhaps just taking realpolitik at its finest. You don't resist constant cooperation with your neighbors, regardless of what your political leanings are. Let's hope, I mean, this is just a big hope that the current government in Syria will continue on a moderate front. This will just have to take some time to see whether their overtures towards Israel, also with, at the moment, not making many demands on the Golan Heights, whether that really will have a long-term sustainable effect. But I think Islamic State is alive and well. The question is, will there be a vacuum left for it to grow again? And I think that will depend on what kind of security arrangements the Syrian government makes with all of the players of the region. Of course, with the United States, we hope that there will be some kind of security arrangement, particularly what will the Turks do? who are right now commanding quite a bit of the security infrastructure within Syria.
Yes, and Oliver, just to finish off, apologies, we seem to have run out of time. What does this attack say about the Syrian government's claims of security restoration post-Assad and post-conflict?
Well, I mean, I just take the example of our experiences in general. The world will never be 100% safe. There will always be a terror attack here or there. We will never eradicate any form of radicalization. Of course, that is an aim, but it requires literally starting at zero, children at very young ages, but it also requires having equal opportunities. And it's such a complicated process that we can just assume we have to deal with this. The question is, will it become a rampant problem, or is it an isolated problem? That, again, it's not a question we can answer yet, simply because it hasn't happened so much at the moment. This is now a tragedy, and let's hope it becomes it's an isolated tragedy. But there's no answer for that right now. I don't think anybody could answer that honestly.
Oliver, thank you very much for joining us on the program. We actually do have a quick update